If you think trying to control the use of a hashtag is a problem for CrossFit, try controlling people's grammar. Lots of people are talking about CrossFit and their legal team going after people for using the hashtag CrossFit. This is probably because of what's happened to Vindicate and Andrew Hiller's video on the matter, and maybe everything isn't quite as clear as it could be. And I say that because I've had people even reach out to me saying that maybe CrossFit will come after me for using CF Media. Well, rest assured, I'm completely fine, mostly because it's CF. Now, while within our CrossFit bubble, CF, we might immediately think CrossFit. Even with my heavily weighted CrossFit-based Google history, a search of CF on Google and the #1 result is going to be cystic fibrosis. Even the people also asked are all related to cystic fibrosis. Although maybe can you survive CF could also apply to CrossFit. And also, let's not forget that my surname actually begins with a C, so when I say Jason C, well, that's just me. But I digress, because I started digging into the whole trademark issue just to get a better understanding of what's going on with CrossFit. And well, that's not going to be this video. I'm actually still waiting to hear back from a few people. I have spoken to a couple of companies that have had this issue in the past. I've got some really interesting stories to share, but I want to get all the information together before I put that video out, so that will be coming in the near future. But in my research, I did come across the CrossFit Trademark guidelines. And I'm sorry to say that the community has voted and CrossFit is wrong. It's a bit like when Uno tried to tell people that you couldn't stack cards, you couldn't put a +2 on a +2, and the community, well, they didn't agree. So I just wanted to share point 1 and the subsequent bullet points of this document. So the first bit says, always capitalize the C and the F in CrossFit. And that's probably the one that we all agree on. If we're writing CrossFit, we're going to write it with a capital C and a capital F. Although, you have to be careful with the fonts you choose to use, because if you're using a font that capitalizes all the letters, technically you're writing CrossFit wrong. I have heard of a CrossFit box that had made t-shirts using a particular font that meant it was going against the trademark of CrossFit, and you can also just look at a number of my thumbnails to see another example of when people use CrossFit incorrectly. The next point, use CrossFit as an adjective followed by a generic term. CrossFit training is for everyone, not CrossFit is for everyone. Of course, we would all use the more clunky CrossFit training is for everyone over the more catchy CrossFit is for everyone, wouldn't we? Well, of course, a quick Google reveals that the majority of people are saying CrossFit is for everyone. But don't worry, I'm sure CrossFit's team will be in touch very soon to tell them that they're getting it wrong. Next point. Do not use CrossFit as a noun or a verb. Proper. I feel great after a CrossFit class. Improper, I feel great after CrossFit. Well, of course, in this case, both are wrong. The correct answer is, I feel dead after CrossFit. But I suppose on this point, you probably hear both. Both as in CrossFit class or CrossFit, not great or dead. Although you also probably hear both of those as well. So let's give that one a pass and we'll just move on to the next one. And that's probably because it's my favorite one. And that is, do not add any letters or variations to CrossFit. So again, we have the example, CrossFit training improves my life, not CrossFitting improves my life. You know, I don't think anyone actually says CrossFitting, so I guess they're fine. Although I would probably go back to the previous points already mentioned. I imagine most people would say CrossFit improves my life, not CrossFit training. Why add an extra word when you don't have to? We are CrossFitters. Everything we do is for time. But wait, did I say CrossFitter? Because that's also wrong. Yes, we are CrossFit athletes, not CrossFitters. Although I don't think anyone told the meme guys. Make WODs great again? Check. WOD zombie? Check. Meme WOD? Check. Meme for time? Check. And I could go on, so just insert your favorite meme page here. Just looking to the very last point, I think that's fine, although I find it strange that they said CrossFit Gym and not CrossFit Affiliate or Box, but anyway, I'm going to give that one a pass. But I do find it funny that CrossFit just seems to go against the grain as to what feels the most natural to us. When left to our own devices, these tend to be the terminologies that we choose to use. all of the ones that CrossFit say are incorrect. And particularly CrossFitter just feels like a natural way to describe someone who practices CrossFit, especially if they are not someone that goes to competitions and maybe don't really view themselves as an athlete, perhaps in comparison to games athlete or even just some of the more competitive members at their local affiliate. The absolute worst one I ever heard was from a competition director back when sanctionals were a thing, and when talking about their event being a sanctionals event, and I referred to it as a sanctional and was quickly told that it's not a sanctional but it's a sanctionals event. Really felt wrong just knowing how we use an S to pluralize things. So sanctionals felt more natural, and I don't think I ever actually heard it applied, but apparently even an individual event was a sanctionals, not a sanctional. But ultimately, does any of this really matter? Well, no, not to the general public, not to the average member at your local CrossFit affiliate. It doesn't really matter what vernacular they choose to use. But at the same time, if CrossFit is going after people because they are stepping on their toes using their trademark, and don't get me wrong, they have the right to do that, why are they making it so difficult for people that do have the right to use the trademark, affiliate owners for example, by forcing them to use vocabulary and terminology that just feels unnatural and actually isn't what the larger community as a whole tend to use? Now, I'm sure there is some legal reason maybe around what's actually allowed to be trademarked, and probably someone more intelligent than me watching this video can give me an answer. If you know the answer, great. Jot it down in the comments or shoot me a message. I'd love to hear the legal jargon behind this. Until then, this CrossFitter who thinks CrossFit improves his life is just going to keep digging into some of these legal issues.